Megan, what are you doing?
You don't look like my grandma.
She's not your grandma.
I'm so lonely.
Baby, please just...
Maybe I can come in?
Megan, no!
Hi, I'm Sharronda Williams, and welcome to Prime Video Recaps. With From Season 3 airing now on MGM+, I thought you might need a little reminder on everything that happened in Seasons 1 and 2. Some episodes of From Season 3 are already streaming with the MGM+ subscription on Prime Video, with new episodes airing weekly. You can watch all seasons of From with the MGM+ subscription on Prime Video. From centers around a mysterious small town where people can't leave once they enter. The residents of the town try to live a normal life, but they are haunted by monsters at night that can kill them if they don't have a special token called a talisman to keep them safe. The residents of this town would try to survive while also trying to discover the secrets the small town holds. With the help of one of their leaders, Boyd, they are determined to find a way back home. Season 1, Episode 1 opens with Boyd Stevens ringing the bell to alert the town that it is time for them to return home before dark. As the town begins to lock its doors and cover the windows, you see a talisman on their walls. Kenny, Boyd's right-hand man and deputy, heads to the hospital to check on his dad, or maybe to get a glimpse of his crush Christy, who runs the hospital. As Kenny leaves the hospital, he and Christy have one more flirting session with each other before he gets home before dark. As it turns dark in one of the townsfolk's households, a young girl by the name of Megan hears knocking on her window. She hears the voice of someone who claims to be her grandmother. Her mother rushes in to stop her daughter from opening the window, but it is too late as the lady who looked like her grandmother turns into something more sinister. Frank, Megan's dad, returns home the next morning after he got too drunk to walk home from the town bar the night before. Boyd and some of the townsfolk are waiting for him as he is unaware of the horrors that transpired in his home. Boyd slaps him multiple times and drags him upstairs to look at the remains of his wife and daughter who were torn apart by the monster. Meanwhile, the Matthews are currently on a family road trip to spend more time together as a family. The Matthews family consists of the husband and wife, Jim and Tabitha, and their 2 kids, Julie and Ethan. While driving in their camper, they see a tree blocking the road. As they get out to look, they see a swarm of crows circling around them in the sky. Boyd goes to see his son Ellis, who doesn't seem too happy to see him. Boyd tells Ellis about Megan and her mother being killed and asks if he could come to the funeral service. Back to the Matthews family, they're still lost and trying to find their way back on the highway. They happen to see a town and notice all of the tires are flat. Jim tries to ask some of the townsfolk where they are, but they ignore them. Boyd greets Jim and Jim asks how to find the highway. Boyd tells him to continue going up the road, knowing this direction will take them nowhere. Jim drives in a circle over and over again, only to find themselves back in the same town. As things start to get too creepy for the family, Jim quickly has to dodge a car coming straight for them and runs out the side of the road, getting into a bad accident. The driver of the car, Toby, stumbles into town asking for Boyd's help, and Boyd sends his deputy Kenny to get more reinforcements. Boyd goes to check on the accident and finds another man by the name of Jade in the backseat of Toby's car. He handcuffs him to the car door while he goes to look after the Matthews family. Everyone seems to be okay except Ethan, who has a table leg stuck in his thigh. Some of the current town residents, Christy, Ellis, Kenny, and Father Cottree, arrive on the scene to help. Christy, the town medic, checks on everyone while Kenny and Ellis grab Tabitha and Julie from the RV. Christy needs more time to get the table leg out of Ethan's leg, but they are running out of daylight. Boyd comes up with a plan to keep them safe once it goes dark. Back at the town hospital, Sarah, who is a resident of the town, is looking after Toby. She is helping out at the hospital until Christy comes back from helping Boyd. Sarah is comforting Toby until she stabs him in the throat, killing him. Back in the RV, Christy is trying to get the table leg out of Ethan's thigh, but darkness has come, and the monsters are out as Episode 1 comes to an end. Ethan is seizing, which is making it harder for Christy to get the table leg out of his thigh. Jim begins to hear the noises of the men outside. He thinks they have come back to help, but Boyd tries to tell him that isn't them. Meanwhile, Ellis, Kenny, Julie, and Tabitha try to make it to safety as the truck catches the flat. Jade slips and hits his head in the rain as they are trying to make it to Colony House safely. They make it to the front door, but they won't open it since it is after dark, and it could be the monsters. Donna, who is the leader at Colony House, gives her approval for them to open the door, but has Tabitha, Julie, and Jade tied up since they don't know them. Donna explains to Tabitha about the monsters and how she ended up in town and lost her sister in the process. Christy is able to get the table leg out of Ethan's thigh, and he wakes up. The other nurse at the hospital finds Toby's dead body and sees the monsters have gotten inside. She runs downstairs to the basement to try to take safety with Kenny's dad. Christy, Boyd, Jim, and Ethan survive until morning and are able to leave the RV, where they are met by Tabitha, Julie, and Father Kotry. Sarah goes home and tells her brother Nathan that she has left the door open to the hospital because someone told her it was the only way for them to get out of the town. Kenny, Boyd, Father Kotry, and Christy arrive at the hospital and find the door open and Kenny's father dead along with the other nurse. Ethan doesn't seem to be his normal jovial self, and with good reason, since he sees a mysterious little boy appear out of nowhere and vanish in broad daylight. Boyd checks in on Frank, who has been in jail since the death of his wife and daughter. Boyd asks him if he wants to tie up any loose ends before he receives his punishment in the box. The box is the only form of punishment in the town for those who disobey the rules, which leads to another person's death. Jade finally wakes up and then almost wakes the entire house up before Donna can get him to explain what's going on. Jade doesn't believe Donna and thinks that Toby put them up to this. Jade decides to go to town to explore things. Ethan is still seeing the boy in white, but no one else can see him. Sarah heads into the diner and sees Kenny's mom crying because her husband was killed by the monsters. Father Kotry goes to the colony house to take Jim and Tabitha around town so they can participate in the choosing ceremony. He shows them their new potential house, which is also the same house where Frank's wife and daughter were killed by the monsters. Jade is still being delusional and not getting the hint that the monsters are real and the town is not a setup by Toby, who he still believes isn't dead. Ethan tells Victor, the resident who has been in the town the longest, about the little boy he keeps seeing, and Victor tells him to tell his friend hello. The town holds the choosing ceremony, and Jim, Tabitha, and Ethan choose to stay in town while Julie decides to stay at the colony house because she is angry with her parents. This upsets Tabitha, but the rules are the rules. Jade decides to stay in town as well. Kenny shows Jade Toby's dead body so he can realize that this is serious and not a joke. Kenny brings Jade home to stay with him and his mom. Julie is welcomed with open arms at the colony house. Frank accepts his fate in the box, while Jim, Tabitha, and Ethan move into their new house and the townsfolk settle in for the night. Boyd sees Frank's body after the monsters tore him apart the night before. Tabitha is not doing too well after Julie chooses to stay at the colony house. Tabitha goes to see Julie, but things become more strained with them after Julie tells her she knows her parents were about to get divorced before they got stuck in the town. Fatima, Ellis's girlfriend, and himself make Julie more comfortable in her new home. Sarah gets a message from the monsters telling her to kill Ethan, and she passes out. Jim and Tabitha get into an argument, and Victor convinces Ethan to leave the house to look for the young boy he keeps seeing. Victor remembers from his past that he also knew the young boy. Victor starts digging graves and tells Donna he was just trying to get a head start as gloom comes over the colony house. Sarah is taken to the hospital to be observed overnight by Christy. When she is feeling better, she goes to visit Ethan. She tries to get him along, but Tabitha decides to tag along. Boyd goes to see his wife Abby's grave and says he has a plan to get everyone out of the town. Sarah traps Tabitha in the barn so she can get to Ethan. Sarah's brother Nathan tells Father Kotry what Sarah has done. Nathan finds Sarah and tries to stop her, but she slashes Nathan's throat by mistake, killing him. Sarah runs away before they can capture her. Father Kotry has Sarah tied up in the basement of the church as no one in town has seen her after killing her brother. Boyd tells Kenny his plan to take the talisman into the forest to see if it will protect him, so maybe they can use it to escape the town. Let's just say Kenny isn't a fan of the plan. Jade enlists the help of Jim as he tries to reach the top of a tree to find a radio signal. Jade begins to hallucinate that someone is trying to kill him, but Jim tells him it isn't real. Father Kotry asks Sarah about the voices she hears because he thinks there is a religious connection to pursue. The voices start talking to Sarah and she tells Father Kotry that they have been watching him since he got there and they know about the bag he buried. Father Kotry then knows that the voices Sarah claims to hear are real. Boyd tells Kenny that he has Parkinson's. Kevin, one of the people who lives at Colony House, has been communicating with one of the monsters disguised as a young woman.
When can I come inside?
Boyd tells Father Kotry his plan to help everyone get out. Father Kotry shows Boyd the bag he dug up and the bloody shirt inside. He tells him about a child he used to help at the church and how he sent him back home to his parents, and then he later found him dead when he went to go check on him. The blood on the shirt and the bag was from the young boy's drunk father, who was responsible for beating the boy to death. Father Kotry was filled with so much rage that he beat the boy's father to death. After the incident, Father Kotry drove and ended up in the town. He then tells Boyd that he has Sarah tied up in the basement of the church, and Boyd pulls a gun on him. Father Khatri tells Boyd that Sarah may be the key to everyone going home. Kevin is still in the bathroom meeting up with the monster by the name of Jasmine. Jasmine tells him she is leaving because he won't let her in. Kevin opens the window and lets her in while everyone else is downstairs celebrating Fatima's birthday. Of course, the monster kills him. Tabitha has been digging a huge hole in the bottom of their basement to figure out where the power for electricity is coming from. Jasmine opens the window so the other monsters can come inside the house. The monsters got my girl Trudy. R.I.P. Trudy, you might have stolen people's clothes, but you didn't deserve to go out like that. The monsters are wreaking havoc on Colony House. Victor is able to get himself and Julie out of the house to head for safety. Fatima hangs the talisman back on the house to keep the monsters from hurting anyone else. Victor leads Julie into the woods and pushes her through a tree, and she ends up in one of the bunkers in town. Donna brings the survivors from Colony House to the jail, but one of the monsters slashes Father Khatri, and he ends up bleeding to death. Boyd goes to see Sarah in Father Khatri's basement. In a flashback, Boyd is driving with his wife Abby and Ellis in the car. They gift Boyd a boat for retirement, but before they can celebrate, they run into a tree in the middle of the road. They are greeted by Father Khatri and taken to an underground bunker in order to survive the night. The next morning, Boyd begins helping the town organize so they can become a community. Ellis tells Boyd that his mom hasn't been acting normal and that he prefers Boyd stay home with them, but Boyd wanted to explore the town more. He got stuck in the forest where he found the talisman. When he returned to the town, he heard gunshots. Abby was shooting people in the town, saying that what they were experiencing wasn't real. Boyd tried to talk her down, but she was about to shoot Ellis, so he had to shoot her. In the present day, Boyd asks Sarah if the voices told her about what the talisman can do against the monsters. Boyd tells her about Father Khatri and what happened at Colony House. Jim convinces Donna to let him and Jade build an antenna on Colony House in hopes of getting the signal to work. Boyd goes to see Ellis before he sets off for the forest, and he tells him that he loves him and is proud to be his father. Ellis eventually goes to his father and apologizes for being angry with him for so long. They hug and cry it out together. Boyd sets off on his journey with Sarah as the town rallies together to help Jim build the antenna. Boyd asks Sarah why did she do what she did to get the townsfolk killed. She said the voices told her that if she didn't do it, her brother and others would die. They discover bottles in a tree, and then Sarah begins to feel pain again from the voices and starts having a seizure. Sarah says that she heard the voice of a woman who said it isn't safe for them to be out there. They then feel something attacking them from outside of their tent and a flash of light. Jay thinks he has figured out the power problem. They use the lamps and wires to help power the antenna they are trying to build on Colony House. Ellis and Fatima get engaged. Sarah thinks the voice that spoke to her was Boyd's wife. When they leave the tent, it is daylight and all the trees are covered in thick cobwebs. Boyd starts to hear the voice of a woman and he sees Abby. Abby grabs him and he sees spiders appearing out of nowhere, crawling on him and biting him. Boyd starts having a reaction to the spider bites. Jim and Jade, along with the town, get the antenna up and are getting a signal. They call out to see if anyone can hear them, and they actually get a response. The person over the radio already knows Jim's name and says your wife shouldn't be digging that hole. Jim runs back to home to find Tabitha. Tabitha is digging and the floor collapses and she falls inside. She sees a light and is Victor. Victor says the boy in white says he should come and that he should wait for her. He tells her that the place they are in is where the monsters sleep. Victor grabs her so they can run. Jim makes it to the house and sees a giant hole. Boyd collapses as he and Sarah are trapped outside in the storm. He tells her to leave him and go back to town and tell the others what happened. Sarah refuses to leave and the boy in white appears and tells her that Nathan was right and the place isn't safe right now. He tells her to get them to a faraway tree. Boyd goes first, but he ends up in a claustrophobic space as season 1 comes to an end and a big bus appears with some new visitors for the town. Season 2, episode 1 opens with Boyd waking up, still trapped in the tight underground space. The bus that arrived in town has a passenger by the name of Elgin, who screams that they can't be here and throws up, which causes the bus to stop. At Colony House, the wires are malfunctioning, injuring some of the residents. Jade is trying to pack up their equipment and get it inside before it is destroyed by the storm. Victor and Tabitha are still at the bottom of the hole, trying to find a way out. Jade tells everyone about the bus he saw in front of the diner. Some of the residents go to Jim's house to help look for Tabitha, while the others greet the new visitors who have just arrived. Jade discovers Victor has been in the town since he was a child and wants him to tell him about the symbol he keeps seeing. Boyd hears the voice of a man who tells him he can get him out of the small space. A rope falls down so he can get out. Elgin passes out and Marielle, the pediatric nurse that was on the bus with him, is trying to help. Jim's house collapses with him, Tom, and Brick trapped inside the rubble. Jim tells them they have to save themselves and leave him there since it will be dark soon. In the process of taking care of the wounded people, Chrissy sees Marielle, who happens to be the fiancé she left behind in the real world after getting trapped in the town. Victor and Tabitha are still trying to get out of the dark cave, but now the monsters are starting to wake up. The bus driver Bacta is telling everyone to get on the bus so they can leave, but Donna tells them if they do, that they will die. Chaos ensues as they begin to argue, but Donna takes things into her own hands and shoots the tires on the bus. Boyd is almost out of the tight space, but then he sees Ellis at the bottom. Boyd makes it out and he finds Martin, a man chained to the wall who asks Boyd to kill him. Marielle tells Chrissy that she and her parents have been looking for her for over 6 months. Brick, Jim, and Tom are still trapped in the rubble. Brick wakes up in a panic, but Jim and Tom tell him that he needs to calm down and be quiet so the monsters don't find them. Boyd is trying to free Martin from his chains. Martin tells Boyd the monsters are just the tip of the iceberg behind what is really going on. It is dark and the new visitors who refuse to seek refuge are being killed by the monsters. Those inside the diner want to help them, but Kenny tells them no. Randall, one of the new visitors, takes the gun from Kenny and holds him hostage. Kenny is able to get the gun back for Randall. Boyd is still trying to get Martin free from the chains, and Martin asks Boyd if he ever thinks his wife Abby was right and that this is all just a dream. Martin then cuts Boyd and says his blood is now Boyd's blood and then disappears. Boyd walks out of the cave and finds himself somewhere in the forest. Boyd sees a dog and begins to follow it. Victor tells Tabitha that he first came to the town with his mother. Boyd finds Victor and Tabitha in one of Victor's bunkers. Elgin begs them to let him in as the monsters are closing in. Tabitha also begs Boyd to let him in, so he does, and finally finds out about the bus that has arrived to town with new visitors on it. Jim, Tom, and Brick are still stuck under the rubble. Brick dies from his injuries and one of the monsters finds Tom and kills him. As the sun comes up, Julie finds her dad still alive in the rubble. Bacta discovers the dead bodies on the bus as the new visitors are starting to realize they were telling the truth about the monsters. Boyd sees that things are moving underneath his skin, and Victor knows that something is up with him. Boyd is still in shock about what happened to him in the cave and the cut Martin gave him. Boyd is filling Ellis in on what happened with him and Sarah and not knowing where she is. Ellis and Kenny are in the woods and they find a girl, Kelly, who was pinned to the tree by a nail in her head. They think she is dead until she wakes up asking for help. Victor goes to his room and sees that someone took something. Clara tells him that Jay was in his room, so he goes to confront him, asks for his violin back, and leaves. Chrissy arrives to treat Kelly, but she knows she won't survive her wounds. Boyd ends up helping Chrissy and is the one to remove Kelly's head from the nail and tree, and she dies. Tabitha is seeing little children who seem like they mean her harm in broad daylight. Kenny finds Sarah in the bottom of the basement. Kenny takes Boyd to see Sarah in the basement. Sarah tells Boyd she can't live in the community again after what she did. Boyd tells Kenny that Sarah's connected to the town somehow. Boyd starts to see things moving under his skin again and he collapses. Chrissy checks Boyd out, but there doesn't seem to be anything visibly wrong except he's still too dizzy to stand. Randall, one of the new visitors to town, is causing trouble at the colony house, which is becoming a problem for Donna. Donna lays down the hammer with Randall. Well, more like an axe. She kicks Randall out of the house and forces him to live on the bus they came in. Kenny confronts Boyd about protecting Sarah and keeping her alive after he knew she was responsible for Kenny's dad dying. Kenny takes his badge and throws it at Boyd. Randall spends his first night on the bus and he sees the creatures up close and personal. Jade is sleeping at the town bar and sees the man from the picture he found holding the book with the symbol he keeps seeing. Kenny tells Tabitha and Jim about Sarah being back in town and they are not happy about it. Boyd tells him that she will not be going into the box because she may have answers that could help them leave the town. Boyd tells Donna about Sarah being back and she thinks she should still go to the box for what she did. Ethan confronts Sarah and tells her that he isn't afraid of her anymore and she is a monster. Sarah goes to see Kenny's mom at the diner, who gives Sarah her box of stuff and tells her to never come back again. Tabitha goes out into the forest and sees the kid ghost who keeps saying Akuli over and over again while touching her, but then they disappear. Marielle has been using the medicine from the medicine cabinet and may be addicted to morphine or something worse. Boyd goes to speak with Kenny's mom and explains why he decided to let Sarah live, but then collapses again. Chrissy finds a document for a rehabilitation center in Marielle's bag and questions her about it. Boyd keeps seeing the same music box playing when he met Martin and a ballerina dancing who is a monster, but no one else can see it. Kenny takes Boyd to see Chrissy, but he is still not making any sense. Kenny and Chrissy think it could be early dementia brought on by his Parkinson's. The town doesn't have enough food for everyone, and Donna doesn't want to alarm everyone by telling the entire town about it, but Jim thinks the monsters may have something to do with it. The residents at the colony house get into an argument over food, and one of the residents, Dale, stabs Ellis. Boyd keeps seeing visions of Father Khatri. Elgin is driving Ellis and Fatima to the doctor in hopes that they can stop the bleeding. Chrissy and Marielle are able to get him semi-stable, but they need to do a blood transfusion to stop his body from shutting down. Chrissy wants Boyd to give his blood, but he won't after what happened with the man in the cave. Kenny volunteers to take whatever Martin gave Boyd so he can donate his blood to Ellis. Marielle, Christy, Kenny, and Fatima finally see something moving underneath Boyd's skin. Boyd has another idea and goes outside to confront the monsters. He tries to transfer his blood to the monster we know as Smiley, and then Smiley collapses. They still don't know if the monster is dead, but will know sooner rather than later. Christy is able to do the blood transfusion and Ellis will be fine. Fatima asks Christy for a pregnancy test. Christy tests Fatima and lets her know that she is pregnant. When morning comes, they inspect the monster's body and realize it's dead. Boyd wants to bring the body inside to study it, but Kenny doesn't agree. They bring the monster in and get the supplies to open it up. Marielle is going through withdrawals, and Jim enlists the help of Randall and his drone to test out his antenna again. Ethan tries to talk to Victor, and Victor tells him he has to keep his distance because bad things happen to his friends. Kenny, who's had a crush on Chrissy since season 1, tells her he loves her, but he can't watch her put herself in harm's way with the monsters and also with Marielle. Fatima tells Donna she is pregnant, but she is confused because she was always told she can't have kids. Donna tells her to accept the miracle and not question it. Tabitha speaks with Jade and tells him that she recognizes the symbols he has been drawing. Chrissy opens the body up and sees that the monster has human organs. She finds bile coming out of the body, so they take samples to study it. Elgin is taking a bath and then he sees the music box, and a woman tries to hold him under the water. Kenny has a dream and the music box is playing in it, and bugs attack him. His mom wakes him up, but he has a mark from where the bug attacked him in his dream. Randall is helping Jim with his experiment. Randall still doesn't believe in the monsters and he thinks the townspeople are in on something more sinister. Tabitha takes Jade to the cave where she previously saw the symbol he was drawing. Boyd goes to the colony house to speak with Elgin about his dream he had being drowned in the bathtub. When someone woke him, he started spitting up water. Jade confronts Victor and demands that he tells him about the symbol, but he doesn't say anything. Chrissy tells Boyd and Kenny that they hear the noises coming from the boiler room. They go downstairs to investigate, and the noise is the same bugs that were in Kenny's dream, coming from the dead monster's body. Boyd returns to the room with Donna. The bugs are gone. Donna tells him to burn the body. Tabitha goes to speak with Victor about why he doesn't want to talk about his past. He takes her to a field where he moved the abandoned cars and found drawings and remembers he had a sister when he was younger. Boyd and Kenny see a man, Reggie, with blood on him screaming for help. Jim finds Randall with Donna tied up. Randall tells him that he has a new plan. Boyd and Kenny talk to Reggie and he says his partner Paula was talking in her sleep and that something cracked inside of her and she died. Boyd asks Reggie what she said while she was asleep, and she said, they touch, they break, they steal, no one here is free, which are the same words Kenny heard on the phone in his dream. Boyd, Kenny, and Julie are going to warn the town about what happened and not to go to sleep. Randall still doesn't believe that the monsters are real, and thinks Donna has something to do with them being stuck in the town. Randall takes the keys to the car and throws it into the forest. Randall wants to stay in the forest for the night and prove to them that the monsters aren't real. Sarah tells Kenny she thinks when people die in the town, their fears go into the forest. She says her brother Nathan was afraid of cicadas, the same bugs they have been seeing recently, and she thinks they are connected to his death. Tabitha shows Jade the drawings that she and Victor found. She also tells Jade that Victor's mother told him she wanted to rescue the children that were locked in the tower because it was the only way to get everyone out of the town and back to their original homes. This is the same tower that Tabitha has been seeing herself walk up to in her dreams. She thinks the kids she has been seeing are trying to ask her for help. Boyd, Randall, Donna, and Jim are stuck in the RV and the monsters are just standing outside staring at them. They then start hearing something over the radio. They all make a run for it to get to the car to leave, but before he can, Boyd sees Abby, but then gets to the car. Randall, however, is still lost in the woods and the cicadas find him and cover him. Marielle is having terrible withdrawals and she has the same vision as Randall and that the cicadas are swarming her. She begins choking to death, but Christine or Boyd can wake her. Elgin spills the beans by mistake to Boyd about Fatima being pregnant with Ellis's child. Elgin remembers a dream he had where they told him, here they come for 3, unless you stop the melody. Julie then begins to scream in pain as you realize that Randall, Marielle, and Julie are the 3 the chant was talking about. Donna, Dell, and Elgin find Randall's body in the woods, and then Randall starts screaming along with Julie and Marielle. Boyd, Kenny, and Sarah are out in the woods, and Sarah says she can hear the music box playing, and Randall, Marielle, and Julie screaming. She says that they need to make the music stop in order to save them. Victor tells Tabitha that she needs to just visit the bottle tree to get to the tower. Jade sees Tom, who died in the rubble of the Matthews house, telling him to go to the tunnels to figure out how they can save Julie. Donna has the guns locked up since everyone in Colony House is on edge, but Reggie slits the throat of the man locking the guns up. Jade decides to go to the tunnel to investigate, and he sees the kids Tabitha has been seeing who appear, chanting Ankuli, and then disappear. Tabitha is with Victor and they are headed to the bottle tree. When they arrive, Victor tells her that the bottle tree is also the faraway tree. He found his mom's body outside of the bottle tree, because this specific tree is the one that can take them to the tower. Fatima and Ellis get married. Reggie pulls a gun on Boyd, shoots him in the arm, and then Boyd shoots and kills Reggie in self-defense. Boyd finds a torch in one of Victor's hiding spots and lights it, which takes him back to the cave where he found the old man. He sees Julie, Randall, and Mario chained up in a trance, and the music box is playing. Abby appears and tells them destroying the box won't save them, and that the people of the town are going to die screaming. Boyd breaks the music box anyway, which releases Randall, Julie, and Mario from their trance. Tabitha makes it to the tower and climbs the steps. She sees the boy in white, who tells her that this is the only way, and pushes her out of the tower window. She awakens at St. Anthony's Hospital, and the doctor, Dr. Brody, tells her that she was found by hikers 3 days prior, lying unconscious on the side of the trail, as Season 2 comes to a shocking end. And that concludes this From edition of Prime Video Recaps. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, some episodes of From Season 3 are now streaming. Watch all seasons of From with the MGM Plus subscription on Prime Video.